We've been using Stripe at our company, assigned it to us for a few years now, and it's done a good job processing our online payments. However, as the transactions rolled in, our team found that we struggled doing the most simplest of tasks, like capturing the information needed to record the month-end accounting transactions. Although Stripe did what we needed for our daily invoicing, it didn't have the flexibility for our reporting. After looking at the Stripe reports, we learned that getting the data for our reports wasn't so simple. The Stripe dashboards and reports didn't break down the transactions with the associated refunds, invoices, charges, and balances. Getting that data was like pulling teeth. We needed a tool to extract the data from Stripe in an easy-to-use, user-friendly format. It was too much work having to search through API documentation to figure out how to program the code and every piece of data. So what we came up with is an end-user tool that plugged us into all of our cloud data. So in this walkthrough, I'm going to show you some methods on how to use the Extrata tool, connect it to the Stripe API, and download the data that we need for our month-end Stripe reporting. So first thing you need to do is you need to go to our Extrata site and go to our exclusive Stripe offer. Add this item to the cart, and you'll be able to download two files. One is the Extrata software, and the other one is the Stripe package that you'll need to put it all together. Let's take a look at that. So we see here we have the demo package for Stripe, and in that we have our Stripe package. This is actually the template that you'll import into Extrata. That'll give you all the tasks and the source connector. We have a README text file, step-by-step instructions that you can reference, and the Stripe ledger report that we'll use later. So let's go ahead and open Extrata. Basically, there's 3 steps to setting up any export. Basically, set up your source, set up your task, and then just download the data. So let's go ahead and import the Stripe template. That was in my download folders. And the password for that is Stripe. If you forget that password, just go into the README file. I've documented it there. So you'll see the source now for Stripe and the project with our 4 tasks that I set up. So let's go ahead and configure the source. So what you'll do is click on the source and click the edit button. And we have it all set up. The only thing that I haven't populated is a secret key, and that's going to be different based on your account. So to get that key, we need to go to our Stripe console. I'm in my test data here. You're going to Developers API Keys, and you'll see a secret key here. You're going to copy that and paste that into your secret key in Extrata. So now we're connected to our account in Stripe, and we can go to our projects. And under projects, I have the four pieces of data. We call these collections or endpoints for Stripe. And the only thing you really need to do for each one of these is change the Save To location. And the Save To folder is where the output will be saved for this task. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to browse to, we actually have a team site, and it's in 365, so we're going to save it there. I'll select Stripe test. And just walk you through this task here. You'll see that the source is selected by default. That's just the way the template is. But there's a list of collections here. If you want to go after customers or payouts or products, etc., it's all here. You can use any collection you want for your task, but we're going to select balance because that's the way this task is set up. I have a file name, and the file type you can export in JSON, CSV, but we're going to use Excel format because that is what's sourcing our ledger report. So I'll save that out. And I've done that for the other tasks. I'm not going to set the output again because it's already set up. So all you have to do now is go ahead and run these tasks. So to do that, you'll click the green button next to each task, and it'll actually go and run the job. So what it's doing, it's going up to Stripe, connecting with Stripe, and for that balance endpoint, it's going and downloading that data set to our export location. Okay, so it's done that. We can see that we got 783 records. So I'll close that out. Let's go take a look at that file. And I think I saved that in their Extrata, data store, test. And there it is. Just pull that to the side. So you see it's just point and click. You can imagine if you had to do this without the Extrata tool, you'd have to read the documentation, find out what the endpoints are, create the code to do this step here. Not only that, you're going to have an output file in some weird format, XML, JSON, whatever, and you're going to have to go and parse that out. Well, we've done that for you here with this tool. It's just point and click. So it's like an end user tool. You don't have to be a programming coder to make this work. Okay, so now we have 680 records there. Let's go after invoices. There may be cases where you don't have invoices. We track our invoices. We actually create invoices for our customers, but we have some customers that just have charges. So if that's the case for you, you will not be loading the invoices. You'll just need balances, charges, and refunds. Okay, so the invoices are loaded, and we see that it's been added to our download location. Let's just run the refunds. That should be quick, hopefully, because we don't want to have a lot of refunds, basically. And there we have our 4 files in our save location. So that's it for Extrata. So again, you can set up any source or project. This is the demo version, so it is limited to one source and one project. But if you wanted to have unlimited projects and sources, you would upgrade to the standard or the enterprise plan. Okay. So let's go ahead and launch our Stripe Ledger report. So as this is loading, I just want to let you know that I'm giving it to you as is. I've created it for my purpose. It might not work exactly the way you want it to work. You'll notice the first page has the instructions, so you can follow this and I'll tell you how to configure all the sources and the pages. Let's just do a quick walkthrough. Again, I'm not going to get into the details of the report because there's a lot of moving parts in it, but if you want, you can, once you get the report, you can take a look at it and change it the way you need to do it for your business. Let's take a quick look at the queries and connections. So again, these 4 tabs here, which are highlighted in green and are grouped, basically are fed via these queries here. So balance, charges, invoice, and refunds are basically pointing to that export location. And you need to configure that. And once you've done that, just run the report. But those are the linked tables or the linked tabs to those export locations to your data. Then I have these items, these tabs here in yellow, which are basically intermediate tables. So they build on our source data. And I've just done some joins. So I had to join the refunds to the invoices to get my tax rate for refunds because that's not included in the refunds table. So I joined those together. I got the tax rate based on the invoice. Then I kind of chained the reports. I joined the balance to the charges. Then I take that and I join it to the invoices, and I take that and I join it to our refunds invoices table. Okay, which gives us one tab or data source that has, or query that has all the information I need. And then I just reference that in Ledger. So to configure these sources, the only thing you need to do is you need to go to Data, Get Data, and go to Data Source Settings. Your data source settings comes up. All you have to do is go into each one of these data sources, click on that data source, click Change Source, and just point it to the corresponding data source for each one of these settings here. So you're going to point the Stripe balance data source to our Stripe balance output from Extrata, Stripe charges to the Stripe charges output, etc. Once that's done, we'll just close that down. All you have to do is refresh the data. So I'm going to go to our Ledger page, and right now all these pages are basically blank. There's no data. To get the data to populate, we're going to click on Refresh All, and that should populate all our tables. So what's happening here is the queries are running. My stage tables will be populated by those 4 tables in Extrata that were output, and then the join and the transform tables get populated, and the Ledger should give us the information we need for our report. Wow, that's awesome. Now we have all our data in one table, all the data we need to create a report. I pulled in my tax rate. I have my original amount, revenue amount. This is our Stripe fee. I have it calculated for each and every transaction. I've got a tax amount I've calculated. I have the net. The net is basically the amount minus the fee, but then I wanted to actually have a net total. So I took the amount minus the fee minus the tax amount, and that gave me a total for the net. And I also created a running total based on an index table column. You can check the transformations I've done for these, each and every one of these queries. All the information is there, but I wanted to add this so that I can actually see a running balance of what my Stripe amount would be. So basically you see charge, and then a payout right here. And you see that the amount goes down. So the charges add up and then a payout goes out. So eventually this should be zero once everything's paid out. But you can see that it's gone up, and then there was one large payout here. So I'd like to see that so that I can see that what my running balance is in Stripe at any given time. So now that I have this table set up, what I've done is I've gone one step further and I've created a pivot table. And this is pretty cool because all I do is just do a right click and refresh, and I get basically this data in this table kind of summarized by month and whether it's a charge, payout, or refund. And then I have the actual aggregates on the top. So once I do that, I can go ahead and create a link or kind of like a summarized type of table here that references my pivot table. So we see here, if we take a January charges here, we see the 80.92 is my revenue. And then I have my fee split out, my HST collected, and my accounts receivable. So there's my revenue I've recorded for the 2017 quarter one, month one. The refunds are exactly the same. They just happen to be a negative balance. Okay, so I want to record the refunds also for that month. And then for my accounts receivable, I want to see what went into my bank. So obviously I have $430 going into the bank, and I'm going to offset the accounts receivable for that. So that's working great. I've also, I have some marketing people that want to take a look at stuff like monthly recurring revenue. I've created a separate pivot table and I have all my charts. I hope you'll get some good use out of this exclusive Extrata Stripe offer. But if you need some help, please visit our help page at extrata.info. Thanks for watching.